Yes, sir. What is going on, YouTube? It is your boy Denali, aka Don Squally, in this beautiful purple Lamborghini. But as you guys can see from today's video, we are going to be doing a Lamborghini that's a little bit different. Not gonna lie, don't even think I've done this Lamborghini on the channel ever, so this should be interesting. As always, up in my favorite spot, driving past the actual entrance to get into the garage. Seems to be a common problem at this spot. But as you guys can see from today's video, man, we are going to be doing a build on the Lamborghini Urus. Urus? I'm not really sure. But what we got to do, obviously, first is jump into the auto show here and find said Urus. Now, as you guys can see, this is the 2014 concept. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this car actually came out to the public in 2018. So this right here, what we're doing is not actually the production Urus. This is the concept. Urus, not really sure. But what we're going to do nonetheless is jump up in here and see if we can make something that looks somewhat presentable on the street. Now, the thing about the concept car compared to the actual car that was released to the public is actually a lot more aggressive looking than the concept right here, man. The front bumper, a lot more aggressive, just a lot more lines. Whereas this car is quite subtle compared to what they actually released to the public. But what I'm thinking we're going to do is check out our engine swap options. 5.2 liter V8 versus our 4-liter V8. I believe this is a V8. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments section. I think we're going to stick with the all-wheel drive on this thing. Now, as you can see, we have the option to completely bug out this vehicle with off-road fenders and some serious stance. We're not going to do that, man. I want this thing to look nice. I want it to be a street vehicle. And most of all, I want it to sound like a Lamborghini. Then you can see that big off-road front bumper. I don't know who is putting that on their car, but it's definitely not going to be us. Rear wing, not really feeling it. As far as the hood goes, how'd I guess some lights? I was going to expect some lights on the front bumper, but I guess they already did that with the front bumper upgrade. Now comes the fun part, some wheels. We're going to go ahead and throw a race tire compound on this thing. Obviously going to widen up those wheels, both front and back. As far as the wheel selection goes, this is where I feel like I'm really going to have to pick a wheel that will make this car look more like a street car. Now, the concept wheel, as you can see, is like, I don't even know, probably like a 24 or 26. So I got to find a wheel that's going to actually make the rim look a little bit smaller, because right now it just looks like a Hot Wheels or something. So when I find something that I think suits this car, I'm going to let you guys know. So I think the wheel that I've decided to go with is this Dynamics Racing Pro wheel here. Now, the only reason I'm going with this wheel is because it just kind of reminds me of an earlier Gallardo or Murcielago wheel, just the way that it kind of V's out at the end of the spoke. So I think this is going to be the wheel that we're going to go with on this one. Now, as you can see, we have the option to go from a 24-inch wheel to an 18-inch wheel, which absolutely looks minuscule on this car. Gotta say, I'm thinking we're gonna stick with the 24s on this one. As big as they are, those 18s just are not looking right, man. So as far as the drivetrain goes, I don't really think that we need to upgrade too much of the stuff right here. I mean, after all, this is a Lamborghini. I think the only thing we are going to do is just drop some race springs and dampers on here. I don't even really think it's necessary to put the anti-roll bars and that on here. I think I'm kind of interested to see how this car performs with just some light modifications. Those being intake and the exhaust. Now, I was unaware that the concept here, as you can see, has twin turbos on it. Now, I'm almost positive that the production Urus, I'm not really sure, actually is a naturally aspirated small V8. again, correct me if I'm wrong, not too familiar with these vehicles, whether it be the concept or the production one. But now that we got all the parts that we want to install, very mild build, 33,000, which really isn't much considering. Pretty sure last week we spent like 80 on an Integra. But now that we got all that fun stuff out of the way, time to jump into the tuning. Now, we're not going to do too much as far as the tuning on this thing. One thing I do want to do, though, however, I want to lower this thing. You guys know me, stance boy all day, every day. As much as this is an SUV, I mean, let's be honest, it's still a Lamborghini, so the thing needs to look nice, if you know what I'm saying. But next up, it's time to paint this thing. What I'm thinking, we're going to go with that Lamborghini classic yellow. As you can see, the only option we have to paint this thing is actually red from the manufacturer. But I would like to see a nice yellow color on here. Now, for those of you guys who are familiar with the production Lamborghini Urus, I'm not really sure, they are actually most of them come factory with that very nice yellow, almost like the yellow that you might find on the Pontiac Aztek. That's pretty much what you're gonna find on the Lamborghini. I'm gonna add just a little bit of orange to this paint. As you can see, just switched it up from that Forza yellow just a little bit. And the only thing we need to do really here is tint up the windows. Now, the one thing that I'm unsure about here on this build is going to be our wheel color. Now, we could go with a nice white. I mean, black would look good too, but you're really not going to notice, the style of wheel with the black. So I'd like to see something a little different. Possibly carbon fiber, the carbon Kevlar. And I think for this wheel combo, we're going to go, like, I was really leaning towards the steel brush, but then I came across this brass, either the semi-gloss or the brushed. I'm kind of digging the semi-gloss though. I don't know about you guys, but that's what we're going with on this one, the brass semi-gloss. I think that's going to be a nice touch with this car, not too aggressive, nice and subtle. And I think this thing is pretty much sitting the way that I want it to. So now that we are finished with the build process, the only thing left to do is take this thing out for a rip. Now, with playing 3D tuning, I do like the convenience of making those videos, but the one thing that we don't get the chance to do is actually take the cars out for a drive, which is exactly what we're going to do now. So you can hear we got a very nice V8 sound coming from this thing. Again, I was completely unaware that this thing had twin turbos. The concept anyways. Ooh, those shifts though. Now, surprisingly, not enough grip as I would have expected from a car like this. But I guess it's handling pretty good for a big SUV. I just love the way this thing looks though. I would really like to see, I'm going to probably Google after when I'm done making this video. I want to do like a little side-to-side comparison just for my own, my own interest, just to see exactly the differences between the production Urus, not really sure, or the concept car here. But nonetheless, the concept is pulling extremely hard, handles very nice. At first I was a little unsure about the handling, but I gotta say this thing, it's handling quite nice. Out in the straight seems a little underpowered, especially considering this thing's supposed to have a twin turbo, which I did fully upgrade the turbos, exhaust, and intake. It still just doesn't really seem that fast. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the new Urus is based off of the Audi Q. Is it the Q, the SUV? Forget the actual model. But yeah, the Lamborghini SUV is actually based off of an Audi SUV, which I guess when they were building the concept, they probably had plans in mind to put in possibly a different powertrain, but then when they decided to completely base the Lambo SUV off the Audi SUV, it was probably, all right, we'll just use the same motor. But I'm not mad, you know, like, to be honest, from what I've heard, the Lamborghini SUV is quite a bit more expensive than the Audi SUV, and you're really paying for the name. There's a few other, like, just the way things are designed are a little bit more interesting. But I mean, as far as the power goes and the way the car is going to handle and drive, it's the same SUV. But I feel like this one right here, where this is really going to shine, is going to be in these twisties. It's not overly powerful in a straight line. But when you start to get into the cornering aspect of it, considering that you're driving a Lamborghini SUV, it's actually quite fun. Inside, not a lot of engine noise at all compared to the outside. Now, I'm not sure if they actually designed the cars in the video games to be equally as quiet or refined with the more luxurious vehicles, like if we were to be driving in a Honda, compared to the outside noise of this Lamborghini. I wonder if they do that on purpose, which I'm sure that they do. They get pretty in-depth with the video game stuff these days, and I feel like those are the kind of details that would probably be taken care of in a video game like this. But now that we are done test driving this thing, I think the only thing left to do is head back to the city, find ourselves a nice spot to put an end to this video, and get the screenshot for our thumbnail. Now, from a dig, you can see we got a little bit of bog, which just leads me to believe that this car is just slightly underpowered. It could use a little bit of weight reduction. Maybe we'll go back and refine this build a little later on, but I don't think we are. I'm pretty happy with it. And, the only thing that I really said that I wanted to do is just get a vehicle that looks absolutely badass and is a Lamborghini SUV. So I think we're going to pull off in the shade. I feel like the sun doesn't really do these wheels very much justice. Just turn the wheel ever so slightly and get that photograph. So as always, if you guys did enjoy this one, don't forget to smash that like button if you guys want to see more and you're not subscribed yet. Definitely stay tuned. We do regular uploads weekly as of right now. When winter rolls around, there's a slight possibility that we may ramp that up to 2 or 3 videos per week. Let me know if you guys would like to see more videos weekly, or if you guys are happy with just one video a week. I know, we've been playing Forza Horizon for quite some time. I'm going to have to actually look in to see if there's a new Forza game out, because I feel like I seen Slaptrain playing that new Forza recently. I don't know if that was a demo or an actual release, but we're going to have to look into that. But as always, I'm your boy Denali, aka Don Squally. I'm thinking we are going to put an end to this one. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you guys for watching, and we're going to catch y'all mofos at the next one, man. Peace! Recovery of a lifetime. Oh, fuck. Oh, no. Oh, fuck. Yeah, keep on rolling there. Yeah. Don't worry about the racer.